Stay tuned because next up we have David Charles Allen, Village Properties Realtor and host of The Hop. That's Home Ownership Podcast.
Welcome to The Hop. This is David Charles Allen, Realtor at Village Properties in Santa Barbara, California, with my great friend and co-host, Patti Teal. How you doing today, Patti?
I'm doing great, David. Thanks for asking.
I'm doing wonderful as well. Again, we have beautiful weather here in Santa Barbara. Getting a little heat stroke, I think, throughout the whole country. And similar to here, we've had temperatures 80s and some places even in the 90s. So pretty warm for us over here.
That is hot for Santa Barbara because so many places don't have air conditioning. And I know the temperature really varies so much from neighborhood to neighborhood.
It does. And a blessing too, we have a little bit of waves too. So if you're getting too hot, you can go jump in the ocean and catch some surf. So that's going to be nice.
Oh, that is nice. Now, have you had some of the June gloom that sometimes covers Santa Barbara this time of year?
You know, we had it for like a week or so, but not nearly as much as usual. We had it earlier in the year for a while, but we haven't seen it so much this June, which is nice.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice. Although I never minded it too much because the sun usually would come out in the late afternoon and everybody'd be so happy.
Yeah, sometimes it's nice just to have a change and sunny and beautiful. So.
Absolutely.
In terms of how interest rates performed, it stayed steady since last week. 4.875 for 30-year jumbo and 5.625 for 30-year fixed.
Hey, still up, of course, but didn't keep going.
How the stats are performing for this last week in terms of housing: 45 new listing, 17 price changes, 29 closed, 23 that went pending, and 7 that were coming soon. So it's almost identical to last week, how we had in the 40s, mid 40s in new listings with 17 price changes, and then only 23 that went pending. So that's only half the amount of conceptually new listings being sold. And 17 price changes, that's 17 houses that would have sold 2 months ago in terms of how numbers work. So it's definitely showing pretty significantly how quickly the market's shifting.
Right. From week to week, when you report on the price changes, if it went down last week and that was a number, these are 17 more that reduced their price. Am I understanding that correctly?
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So again, significant in a sense that a lot of things are changing. We're having price changes in the 4-5 level range for quite some time, and some of those were price increases. So to see 17 price changes, you're getting a lot more emails where people are running open houses for multiple weeks. Mm-hmm. And people are dropping the price. And these are houses that would have sold probably multiple offers, maybe even over asking. So people still want this high value in price. And if it's not an extremely desirable home, people aren't biting right now.
That's really interesting. And you explained last week, if things don't sell from one open house to the next, it's probably a good idea to lower the price a bit.
In this market, yes, because there still is a lot of active buyers, so to say. But their conditions are getting a little more tight. Maybe you're not getting no contingent offers, 10-day close. People are becoming more aware of what they're purchasing and asking more questions. Before, it was just who has the biggest blank check. I want this house. Settling back down to how maybe it should be. Mm-hmm. Hard to say.
Yeah. Very interesting to see what's happening.
Yeah. Any questions of the week?
Yes, I do have a question, David. So with the potential to go into a recession, I know so many experts are saying that's what they perceive is going to happen. And knowing that possibility, if you meet with someone as their realtor who is trying to decide whether to sell their house now or to wait a year, how would you help them decide?
Well, it goes into so many different factors. It's really tough to say because if you sell your house now, you could have a very low interest rate. And depending when you purchase the house, you could pay a high capital gains tax on selling the home. And then if you have to get a loan to purchase a new home, now your interest rates are probably doubled or tripled than what you might have on your current home. So if you're going from state to state where maybe the prices are cheaper, that will all level itself out. Again, there's so many different factors. It's really impossible to know. It's going to break down to each person's unique situation and them having multiple options. but it's really making it difficult now for someone to even sell their home if they want to, because now they're going to have to buy a new home and their interest rate's going to double. That just makes it difficult. It always comes down to supply and demand in terms of housing and prices. If the supply is going to stay low because of that, you could see prices just kind of level out. Mm-hmm. But if something happens greater in the economy where people start losing their jobs, they can't afford their mortgage, then demand's going to drop to almost zero or very low. And then the supply issue, it doesn't matter how much supply there is, if it's low or not, because no one's buying a house. So many factors, hard to say. It's going to come down to each specific.
But you would be willing to meet with someone to help them figure that out, depending on what their needs are, whether they're buying another house, whether they need to take out a loan. Is that correct?
Of course, Patti. Yeah. I always tell people what could happen on the positive side, what could happen on the negative side. It's up to them to make the decision. I'm just there to give them insight.
How would it affect the decision if the person was downsizing as compared to if they're trying to move to a more expensive property?
It makes it tough because the prices are still extremely high. They've doubled in some places just in the last 3 years. So if you're just planning on downsizing, depending what your interest rate is and what your current one is, you could potentially be paying the same amount of mortgage just with a smaller home. Now, with a smaller home, expenses could be less and maintenance could be less, which is a positive, but your mortgage payment could be the same. It's pretty crazy how dramatic it's gone within 3 months. And what makes it difficult is prices are still inflated so much because of all this demand and inflationary assets, and that hasn't leveled out yet. So higher interest rates and skyrocketing home prices, it's not a good mix, especially when you're trying to sell and buy something else. You're going to end up paying a lot more than you would have potentially before.
Right. That makes sense. Of course, there's, I'm sure, other scenarios where you're moving out of the state or at least out of the city to somewhere that's more affordable. So there's different things that really you have to take into account.
Yeah, it's like if you have maybe a home in Santa Barbara and you've built up a lot of equity over time, maybe you have a small mortgage left or a good size mortgage, like 50% of your mortgage left, but mostly paid off, and you want to move somewhere like Arizona or somewhere cheaper, you could sell your home and then pay off your mortgage and buy the new home in cash. So, and then you're not even worried about interest rates. So in that sense, you really get out ahead. Right. It really depends on each specific person.
That makes so much sense. Well, David, on an easier topic, how are those fur babies?
Everyone's doing really well. We had a really great long beach day, so everyone's still pretty tired. I know they were not enjoying the heat last night, sleeping, so they like cool weather. At least the big dog do. Bailey loves the heat, so.
Oh, Bailey does love the heat. Yeah, Ollie likes to go sun himself, and he can stand pretty much a lot of warmth. But the pug, he has trouble in the heat. In fact, he can overheat very quickly, as those little snub-nosed dogs can. So we have to be very careful with that.
Yeah, Bailey will be fine in the heat, and she'll be chilling, and everyone else will be dying. So. She's got one up on everyone.
It sounds like it. You turn fans on in the house to kind of help keep them cool?
Yeah, you just try and keep all the windows and doors open, let the breeze. Luckily, living next to the ocean, it really helps. So,
boy, it really does, doesn't it? Well, gosh, David, thank you so much. And thank you for always being willing to answer these questions that I throw you on the fly. You did a great job with helping with that one. How would you decide whether to sell your house now or to wait? Thank you.
Of course, Patti. Yeah, if anyone gives me a call and talk it over, my number is 805-617-9311. And my email is david@davidcharlesallen.com.
Thanks, David. Have a great week.
All right, Patti. You too.
Bye-bye now.
Bye.